Hey, Charles, what's up, man?
Dr. John, how we doing?
We're partying, dude. What are you up to?
No, I'm doing well. Can't complain at all.
Good. Well, you could, but then you'd be a politician. So what's up?
And no one would listen to me, right? So my question, without any context, is kind of a loaded question, but how do I navigate my fear of having children?
We'll have 7 of them. That fear will go right away. I don't know.
So I'm
what's
sure
up,
it will.
man? What are you thinking of?
Yeah, I really try to see where it's coming from. I don't know if it's like a deep-seated issue, but me and my wife are in our early 30s. It's time now. We're about to buy a house. So it's getting to that pull the trigger, and I'm having a trouble with the anxiety around that. And the only things I can really think of is the normal selfish reasons, increased responsibility, which I don't think that's the case of why I'm having issues. Money situation, which we're doing financially very well, but I've been in a very rough spot myself. So maybe it's trusting myself with that.
Tell me about your dad.
Tell
me about your dad.
Yeah. Fantastic father, amazing man, worked hard for the family. We weren't super well off growing up, but he worked very hard and worked his way up. And now,
you ever taken him out for coffee
well.
and said, "Dad, were you nervous when I was born?"
No, I have not.
Do that.
Yeah,
because probably the most eye-opening thing I've learned since having kids. My dad was a homicide detective and a SWAT hostage negotiator. Like the baddest of the bad dudes. And he was super respected in our community. Like if somebody's family was having problems, they called him at 2 a.m. and he went over there and was there all night. I remember when my buddy, when her house caught on fire, her dad was a pro baseball player. My dad beat the fire department there because he was listening to his police scanner radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that he was just making it up as he went too. I didn't realize how scared he was too.
It's a fantastic point.
Of how is he going to love his daughter and how is he going to love his son? How is he going to love his other son? Like, I didn't realize that. And until you're like me, I got 2 PhDs. I've been doing this a long, long time. I've helped probably thousands of parents and their kids. And then I walk into a therapist office, who deals with with children and adolescents, and I said, I don't know what to do. Help. And she was laughing. She's like, "What are you doing here, man?" And I was like, "I'm out. I don't know what to do." Like, until you're there, like I just want to tell you, Charles, like fear is part of the deal, man.
Yeah.
And as a guy who grew up in your same part of the country, I grew up around you. I'm going to tell you, I thought money was it. And I thought stuff was it. And I thought a great, rambunctious, fun marriage was it. I spent my childhood at Astros games. I spent my childhood at Fitzgerald's down there off White Oak. I spent my I thought all these things were amazing, and they were. I did not understand what would happen when another chamber of my heart opened up that I didn't know existed.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know how the hugs from my daughter could just Control-Alt-Delete my day. And I didn't realize how much geopolitics would make me even more nervous because I got a kid who's going to inherit all this crap. It's all of it.
Yeah. I think that's kind of one of the problems is everything is going so well. My wife is amazing. We have healthier relationship than I thought was possible. And I think maybe that's the largest reason is, you talk about how, when you have a kid and there's a major life change, you kind of have to rebuild, the life that was is gone. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why I'm so nervous. So
let me tell you something that this guy gave me some wisdom. So I was in grad school and my wife and I had been married a few years and I sucked at being a husband and we were just trying to figure it out. And I wasn't regretting being married. I just was regretting how frustrated I was all the time because I just didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't even know how to ask because I was young. I was blaming everybody for everything. And I had one of my classmates, he was down the road from me. He's about 10 years older than me. And he was having his 4th kid, I think, 3rd or 4th kid. And I looked at him, I was like, "You're crazy." Like my wife and I are having fun, but we don't even know what we're doing. And he said something really profound that stuck with me. And it's given me the courage to head into what looks like dark spaces, but there's actually light in there. And it's this. He said, "Dude, you know how you're single, how it was awesome?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, it was so awesome." And he goes, "You know how you're married and y'all kind of have a tiny bit of money? Y'all having sex all the time? and you're just like can go to the movies on a Tuesday night, on a work night. Like you can just do whatever you want. Like, yeah. He goes, it's just a different kind of awesome. And he said, you have your first kid, and on paper, like you have way less money. You're way less spontaneous when it comes to like going to the movies or doing it or whatever. He goes, but you're holding this kid. Then you have 2 and you have 3, and he was expecting 4 or whatever. And he just said, it's just a different kind of awesome. It's different, but it's amazing. And that phrase, a different kind of awesome, has stuck with me. It stuck with me when I changed jobs. It stuck with me when I had first kid. It stuck with me when I had second kid. It's just a different kind of awesome. It's just different.
Yeah.
So let me. This may be a bad analogy. It's just coming to my head. So if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But imagine having a really awesome car, and you're just driving it down a highway somewhere. That's pretty fun, right? It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you just have to like turn around and go back because you're not going anywhere. And for whatever reason, having a second kid gave me a place to drive to in this awesome car. And I don't know how to say that without it being existential, but it gave me all I can say is it opened up a chamber that I didn't know existed. And I was like, oh, this is it.
A very good way to put it, you know. And everyone says that, hey, there's another chamber in your heart that opens up, and when you can't see it, right, it's really hard to put that into your own reality.
Dude, you're standing on a high dive in pitch black, and people are like, no, just trust me, there's water down there, and you're like, I don't know, man, because you can't unjump once you jump, right?
Yeah.
You can't hold a baby for 4 months and be like, yeah, I missed it on this one, dude. I'd like to, I'd like to send it back to Amazon. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I'm biased, dude. I'm so biased. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of mean comments about people who have chosen not to have kids, and that's fine. If that's the path you've taken, great. What I can speak to is both sides of the equation. Because we waited almost a decade to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I can speak to both sides. And I can speak to the sleepless nights. I can speak to the weeping with a depth that I didn't know was possible to weep from as an adult. I can speak to just how unfathomable it is to watch part of your heart and soul out walking around in the world. I don't know. For me, man, it just gave me a destination, a place to drive to.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think it's whatever. I'm afraid. I can push through that, right? I think I'm scared of being scared. And what that could do, or it lead me down the wrong path, or whatever the case is. And I guess that's why I'm actually nervous, because I know I can push through it.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a sales manager.
Okay. You remember your first sales call?
Yes.
Do you remember it clearly?
I was terrified, so not really.
Did you botch it?
Yeah.
How bad?
It was rough. Yeah, it was very not professional. It sounded like I had no clue what I was doing. Didn't get
because you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've put you in charge of all the other salesmen and women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it. You've proven to yourself you can head into uncharted waters with no skills and get some people around you and keep going and figure it out.
I like it. So dive in.
I mean, I would prefer the cannonball metaphor. Diving is too diving. I just was watching the Olympics, so diving is too uniform and clean.
Yeah.
Or there's a guy going. I didn't see it live, but I guess some diver tried to do like 7 back somersault flips and then just landed flat on his back. And then right afterwards, you just hear this 0. That was the score or whatever.
Oh.
Like that's what it feels like.
Okay.
The fear part is just going to be there. And so I want to tell you, your operating system is working perfectly. You should be scared.
Yeah.
It's a huge responsibility to be a father. It's a huge responsibility to build a new marriage with your wife. It's a huge responsibility to, for whatever reason, in many, many, many men, it's a strange thing to go from having a sexual relationship with their wife to somebody's mom. It's just a weird toggle. Any number of fears that you have, the financial fears, the geopolitical fears, the religious fears, like all that's real and all that's going to come up. And by the way, there's some guys that are like, I held my baby in the whole world. I felt like I was struck by lightning. And there's a bunch of dudes that are like, I felt like I was holding a wet sack of like potatoes and what, like I didn't feel anything. And it was like 7 or 8 months of not feeling anything. Everybody's different. But you find out about yourself and you just keep showing up and you just keep showing up and you just keep showing up. And it's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, as long as everything's working, because I don't have a lot of anxiety, so when it's this bad, I'm just like, is this right? Should I feel this way?
Yeah, dude, you're about to blow up your life for the potential of something greater.
Got it.
And the pain will be greater and the joys will be so much deeper. Have you told your wife you're scared?
Yeah, secrets aren't good for relationships.
There you go. What'd she say?
She's completely understanding of the situation. Of course, it doesn't make her feel great, but she's understanding.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So are you in? Are you going to give this a whole, you can't really give fatherhood a whirl. Once you're in it, you're in it.
Oh, no, it's happening. It's for sure happening, yeah.
When she gets pregnant, will you call me back?
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be great for the listeners of the show for you just to periodically pop in over the next year en route to having Charles Jr. I mean, you can name him John too, but you can name him John. It's kind of an amazing name, but whatever. But like little Chuck Jr. be awesome because your willingness to be vulnerable here and say, hey, I kind of like things exactly the way they are, but I'm feeling this sense of I was put here for something else. That's awesome, man. It's amazing and scary and terrifying. Your body's working perfectly. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, brother. Go get them. Go get them. And may the Force be with you. Is that a Star Wars? This is a Star Wars moment. It feels Star Wars-y. May the Force be with you, Chuck. And make sure you take that boy or that little girl to Astros games, as many as possible. It's the way you raise a kid these days. No Rangers. No Rangers.